Hey guys, our devotion today is from Psalm chapter 8, and just a good opportunity for us to think about the majesty of the Lord, His greatness. There's really two parts to this psalm. It talks about how big, how majestic, how incredibly awesome God is, and how little and small we are. But the psalmist brings it together and he says, God, you're so great and so awesome, and yet we're so little, but you think about us. And we have this value because of the place that you've given us, because of the love and the grace and the mercy that you've showed to us. And we see this in parts of the psalm where it says things like, out of the mouth of babes and infants, you established strength. It's not the strength of the babes and the infants, it's His strength that He has chosen to show through them. Our passages or parts of verses where it says, I look up into the heaven and I see your glory on display, and I see how vast your beauty is. Who is man that you think of him? And yet God does think about us. This becomes more apparent to us all the time in this age of science as we look into space and we see just how big and bigger and bigger it is. It's beyond our ability to understand. And someone who doesn't know God might look at that and think, we are completely insignificant in this universe. Look how big it is. But somebody who is a follower of Christ, who knows God, looks at it and says, look how vast, how beautiful this is, and yet we're at the center of all of it. We are where God's heart is, us. And when you think about the earth and all the beautiful, amazing creation on it, man is the pinnacle of creation. We are human beings who God created in His image, and we are where His love, His focus resides. He gave us dominion over everything that He created. And so, just an opportunity for us today to be thankful, to think about what we mean to God, and to worship Him because He is where our true value comes from. And if you read this passage, is also quoted in Hebrews chapter 2. And he reads this passage and realizes that this was also written about Christ. There is some foretelling about who Christ was going to be here in this psalm, as it talks about who is the Son of Man, that you care for him. You've made him a little lower than the heavenly beings. You've crowned him with glory and honor and given him dominion over the work of your hands. And so it can apply to both us and to Christ. Just as we right now, we're lower than the angels now, but in eternity, we're going to have this exalted place and we're going to have dominion, and we have been charged with dominion now. It's the same with Christ, the Son of Man, who became a human being, a little lower than the angels, put aside his glory for a time being, but who is now exalted and glorified. And everything at one point will come underneath of his dominion, and he will rule over everything, and we'll rule with him. And so, I don't know, as we read this psalm today, a beautiful psalm to reflect on the glory of God, our humility, but his favor that he shows to us, and our exalted place because of him and because of Christ. And just to say, thank you, Lord, for your goodness, and spend some time just worshiping Christ for who he is today, and what this psalm teaches us about him. And God bless you guys.